In this lesson, we are going to be writing some inequality sentences from word problems. So in our first example, we're looking at a school that wants to add at least 7 more smartboards and projectors to our building total. Each smartboard costs $1,800 and each projector costs $1,150. The school cannot spend any more than $25,000 if X represents the number of smartboards. So I'm going to write this here. X is smartboards. And Y is projectors. All right, so they're going to have, let's see, the school wants to add at least 7 more smartboards and projectors to our building. So some combination of smartboards and projectors, they're going to have at least 7 pieces of equipment is what that is saying, okay? So if I take smartboards and projectors and put them together, that total has to be at least 7. So that total has to be greater than or equal to 7. Okay? Then, every time I buy a smartboard, which is X, I'm spending $1,800. So I have $1,800 for every smartboard, plus $1,150 for every projector. And that total, when I spend all of that amount of money, can be no more than $25,000. I can spend exactly $25,000, but I can't spend more than that. So this quantity has to be less than or equal to $25,000. And that's what those inequalities would look like. I'm not going to take the time to solve them right now. I'm just going to write them. And the next one, the owner of a restaurant wants to buy 2 different types of coffee beans. One type is $9 per pound, and the other type is $13 per pound. Based on previous customer sales, he wants less than 1/3 as much of the more expensive coffee as he does the less expensive coffee. The most he wants to spend for the 2 types of coffee is $200. Okay? So here's what I want you to think about. X is more expensive, and Y is less expensive. So up here, if this is $9 per pound, 9 is the less expensive. That has to be the Y. Okay, it has to be the Y. And this 13, which is the more expensive, has to be the X. Okay? So if you're looking at how much money they're spending, let's make an equation just based on money. I have $13 every time I buy the more expensive coffee, plus $9 every time I buy the less expensive coffee, and I cannot spend any more than $200 total. So that has to be less than or equal to 200. Okay, then the next thing, he wants less than 1/3 as much of the more expensive coffee as he does the less expensive type. Okay, so one way to think about that would be to go like this. The more expensive, let's see, I have to read this again. He wants less than 1/3 as much of the more expensive coffee. So the more expensive coffee is X. Has to be less than, has to be 1/3 as less as the less expensive coffee. Like that.